Hey guys, welcome to the Octane podcast. In this episode, we've got a very special guest. He's not from Nepal, so it's very special, and he's been my training partner when I was in Thailand for 2 years, about 1.5 years or so, and then he's a really strong guy. I think the strongest guy in terms of powerlifting, and obviously strongman too in Thailand, and he just finished his competition with a massive 780 kilos total, which is insane for us to even think about it. And yeah, he's got many things. We'll discuss it in a bit. But yeah, Ju, thanks for coming on the podcast, man. Means a lot to us.
Of course. I'm excited. Happy
Yeah.
to be part of it.
Yeah, so it's like our podcast is like a really small niche. Like we have like a few listeners, and I think today's episode is gonna provide like a lot of insight on how an elite level athlete thinks about training and then does things differently and all those things. So yeah, we'll get right into it.
Sure.
We'll get right into it. So we'll just go over your numbers first because people might not know. So what's your numbers in powerlifting, and if you want to put in some strongman stuff too, then we could get started with that.
So in competition, I've squatted 265. I've benched 180 and deadlifted 335. And this was all done in my recent meet, which was like a month ago. Yeah.
Yeah, so this was raw, right? So
So I'm a
sleeves on.
deadlifter.
Yeah, you're huge
Raw,
deadlifter.
yeah, raw with sleeves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
The
then
deadlift is my specialty.
yeah, and then what's your the most amount of weight you've lifted, not raw, but like squat and bench and deadlift at the gym?
Squat. I've done 300 in the gym in reps. Probably not to depth. I think around parallel. And then I've benched 190 a long time ago when my shoulders were still healthy. And I've deadlifted. I think my best raw deadlift was actually in competition, 335. In the gym, the most I've done raw is around 320 for like 2 reps.
Oh,
And
okay.
this was leading up to the previous meet. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
then
what a
in strongman, there's Sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
that's what I was about to ask.
In strongman, well, there's so many events in strongman, right? But then if you pick like two most looked at events, it's probably going to be the deadlift and the log press. So log press, I've done 145. This was done in competition last year at this comp called Static Monsters. And then deadlift, I've done a 360 kilo deadlift off the floor in a suit and with straps too, and a very ugly hitch, because in strongman you can do whatever you want, just get the bar from point A to point B.
Yeah, so pretty
and
intense.
then and then and then axle deadlift at Static Monsters. So it's with a thick bar, and it's from an 18-inch height. I've done 425. This was last year.
So it's for 18-inch means like pretty high block. So maybe like
Pretty high,
few.
yeah. It's like for you, it's probably like right at the knee level. Me, it's like slightly below knee level.
Yeah, yeah,
If you, because the axle is thicker, right? So you have to measure the bottom of the axle to the floor. So if you do that, it's actually 16 inches.
okay.
Yeah.
So regular bar would probably be around like 7 or something, right? And then this is
Yeah.
16,
Yeah.
16 from the floor.
Yeah.
So pretty interesting stuff, man. So like we're just talking about this at the gym as well the other day. So what do you think of like uh, lifts done at the gym versus in a competition? Like how is it a lot different, because your numbers are like it's different, right? For deadlift you're doing more at the gym, and then in the comp, but then for squat and bench it's a bit lower in the competition setting, and then raw reps, all these things. So how does it affect you in those ways? Because like people generally think like, oh, I've done so and so at the gym, and then it's on different days or whatever, and then they're like, I can do this in the competition, so I'm the strongest. My total is like, your total will probably be like 820 or something if you just mix it up. So how does it affect in your point of view?
Oh, massively. It's a night and day difference. Like, because in training, like as you know, like you're in your own gym with your training partner. You can go at your own time. Um, if you fail a lift, you can do it again. But in competition, it's so different. Like like you have to compete to actually know that like when they call your name and then you're the next lifter, the nerves start kicking in. And when the nerves start kicking in, if you're not used to it, it can either make or break your lift for sure. And in most cases, it breaks most people, I think, from what I've seen.
Yeah.
In the
But
gym, some people do like 30 or 40 kilos more, especially guys who train for the deadlift. But in training, they start deadlifting first. So of course they're gonna be fresh, right? But in
yeah.
competition, it's the last lift after like 10, like 8 hours of lifting, 8 hours of just waiting around. And that's
Yeah.
gonna massively affect your performance too. And then of course how you train matters, how you peak and what equipment you use, how specific you are in your training. That's like so many factors. But I would say, yeah, it's huge. It's very, very different from a gym lifting in the gym to lifting in calm.
Yeah, we just had like what do you say, like we call it load shedding. You're probably never heard of it in Bangkok. So basically, like they
What's
just
that?
got they just got light whenever they feel like because of some reason. So we just lost some light. So you
Oh,
can,
okay.
yeah. So
But
it's
there's still light there's still light in your background, right?
yeah. This is
That's right.
inverter. So it's like a spare battery,
Yeah.
like an external battery sort of a thing.
Oh,
But we
yeah.
should be
Gotcha.
getting light. I'll just change the setting in my camera for a bit. Yeah, just a
Sure,
sec.
sure. Of course,
Things you
for sure.
gotta do when you live in Nepal. So it's like so. All right, all right. I think we got it. All right. So pretty damn strong guy, and then because obviously in like our viewers side, like people don't really know about you. Obviously, in Thailand you're quite popular. Everybody in every gym knows about you. But in Nepal, we'll just go through how you got started, and then how did you end up where you are, and then along the line we'll just talk about things that have changed and all those things. So
For sure.
before you got into powerlifting and strength sports in general, like how were you? Like I know you studied abroad, and even I don't know how you got started because we actually never talked about it. But let's get into the start of your career in the sport.
So I in high school I dabbled in like all sorts of sports, all the way from soccer, basketball, tennis, swimming, water polo, just basically like, yeah, like just like what every boy would do in school, right? And then I started off bodybuilding. That the bro workouts, chest and biceps, a bit of back but no legs at all. And then I went to Sweden to study in Stockholm, and then over there I lived there for 3 years. So for the first 2 years and a half, I was bodybuilding at a bodybuilding gym. On my last 3 to 4 months there, I didn't want to extend my membership because I was leaving soon. And then the gym that I went to, they only offered like it's either you pay for half a year or you pay for a full year. So it didn't really make sense for me to go back to extend my membership there. So then I decided, okay, there's a gym next door to my house where I live. And then this gym is like, I didn't think much of it because it's just a door, like an entry to a house. And it says with a gym label on there. So I didn't think much of it. But then since I was leaving soon, I decided, okay, why not? Let's give this a go. So I opened the door. I think I went down like 3 flights of stairs, and then came this huge, massive warehouse full of combo racks, full of power racks, power bars, illegal plates, just decked out with powerlifting stuff. And so that's how I got in. That's how I first got introduced to powerlifting. At first, I was still bodybuilding at that gym because you can do like all the bodybuilding movements with the barbell, right?
Yeah.
And with a few dumbbells, a few kettlebells.
Yeah.
But then like because everyone there was powerlifting, I got introduced to doing front squats, back squats, overhead pressing, deadlifting, a few strongman stuff. So it was from that point on that I got hooked.
Yeah. So,
Then never looked
like,
back since.
if you do you remember like what was your first time like when you squatted and benched? Like, do you remember your maxes or not?
For squatting was very weird because I have long legs, so it's a movement that's never really comes natural to me. Even now, I still have a hard
Yeah.
time like finding my own groove, finding the best technique for me. But yeah, I think I was squatting like 60 or 70 kilos. Like I've had
Uh-huh.
bad knees ever since. So back then it's like, it's always been painful for me. I've always hated squatting.
Yeah, and then
I
bench and
like it
deadlift.
now because my deadlift,
Probably 200 the first day.
yeah, no, yeah, like 190 to 200 around there.
Yeah.
Because I have a strong grip. Like my back strength wasn't anything special back then, but since I had a strong grip, I was able to I guess like grind more
Just
efficiently.
pick it up, right?
Just pick it up. Yeah,
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 because I think it also makes a huge difference where your starting point is as to where you finish. I've seen this quite a lot. Like even for me, like the first time I squatted, I was already squatting like 120, so my squats were pretty good from the very start. And then my bench was like it took me so long to even bench 100. So I think starting point also makes a huge difference.
for sure. And you naturally have big legs too. I
Yeah,
noticed.
yeah.
So like, yeah.
Yeah. And then how much do you think like because even I started from like a bodybuilding bro sort of a background, and then I did bodybuilding for like 2 3 years or something, so I had
Mhm,
like
mhm.
a little muscle mass or whatever you may call it.
Yeah.
But do you think like that also contributed to your success in powerlifting and strongman, or is it like a completely different thing in your from your point of view?
I think. Well, yeah, I guess so. I guess so because after all, like even when you powerlift, you want to build more muscle mass to
Yeah.
gain more strength. It's not the fat that makes you strong; it's muscle that makes you strong. So I guess if you start off with a bodybuilding background, it's definitely going to carry over to powerlifting. Because when I first started benching, I was benching like already 100, 110 kilos for a 1 rep, 2 rep max, and I was deadlifting like 190 to 200. So I think it definitely does have a carryover, except for squats for me because I've always had like long limbs and bad knees, so like I had to start squatting from scratch basically.
Yeah.
But it definitely helps. It definitely helps though to have a bodybuilding background.
Yeah, I
But
think
it but
so.
it depends. It depends too on like on when you're bodybuilding. Like if you mainly do compounds when you're bodybuilding, then it's definitely gonna help you with powerlifting. But if you like do machines, only machines, that's not really gonna. It's just show muscle,
No
show
go.
muscle.
No
Yeah.
go.
But then if you do heavy rows or like some deadlifts, dumbbell rows, dumbbell overhead press for bodybuilding, I think it's gonna carry over to strength training for sure.
Yeah, so how long back was this, the gym that you discovered? Like which year, around which year?
2005, 2015, around 2014, around there, mid
Yeah,
2014. And Sweden is like it's powerlifting capital, right? It's where
yeah,
Elico is from. So
yeah.
every gym there has an Elico like combo rack. Because I follow a few of my friends on from Sweden on Instagram, and they're still working out. And they go to commercial gyms, and there's an Elico combo rack, Elico calibrated plates, even a 50 kilo plates.
Yeah,
It's powerlifting capital.
yeah, and then now you don't like Ilico, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm okay with illegal, but it's expensive. So I guess it's like it's hard to get hold of. And there's other brands out there that like are just as good, but for like half the price.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We've got some from India, and then you can see it in the background of there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
challenge, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
challenge, and then
yeah. And they're calibrated.
they're calibrated, and
They're
it
calibrated.
it doesn't feel much. I mean, the finishing from an Elico to a challenge
Oh,
is like it's so different, but like the
oh
way
yeah,
it feels on your
for
back
sure,
and
for
on a
sure.
bench or something, it doesn't feel any different. So it's like
I guess
25.
it's also the color choices that the very I think there's only one color for illegal like for if you want to buy an illegal combo rack, there's only one color, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's very monotone.
Yeah, yes, yeah. So
But it's
after 2014, right? Then you moved back to Thailand, and then you basically started diving into more of like powerlifting stuff, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So how did you get started? Who were your like inspiration along the way, and then how did you get advice from, or were you still doing the bro stuff? How was it like back then in
What
Thailand?
when I came back to Thailand, it was just bodybuilding. Like when you would talk about gyms, it would strictly be like when you would go to the gym, people would assume straight away off the bat that, oh, you're a bodybuilder. You want to have arms. You want to build chest. You want to have abs. So
Yeah.
back then, it was powerlifting was non-existent. But
Yeah.
I signed up for a commercial gym, and I just squatted, deadlifted, and continued what I was doing, what I was doing back in Sweden.
So like you didn't have any like inspiration, like maybe let's say somebody like Louis Simmons or Mike Touche or
Yeah,
whoever,
yeah. Like
because those guys were,
I was
yeah,
on YouTube a lot because
yeah,
like nobody else knew about the sport. So I was on YouTube, reading articles. Back then, I think Mark Bell was just coming to the
yeah,
scene. I was
yeah,
following like a lot of his videos, a lot of his advices. Of course, Louis Simmons as well. Mike T.
yeah,
Um, Back then, it was pretty limited. Back then,
yeah,
there weren't a lot of channels out there.
yeah. I think Lane Norton was quite popular, but maybe
Yeah, but
Lane.
in terms of raw powerlifting, it's definitely Mark Bell for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So and then you were just basic because at this time like I had no clue. I started working out around like 13, 14 year time, but I had no clue about powerlifting until I think 2016 or even 2017 or something like that. Like it was basically in Nepal there was nothing, and then like there was no senior. Like I think the first competition in Nepal in terms of powerlifting was like 2016 or something. So that's pretty
Okay,
late. So
okay.
what about Thailand? Like I think Pond did he start?
In Thailand, the first strength comp was actually a strongman comp. It's a company called Fitway.
Uh huh.
They make their own whey protein, and then they made their own. It's called Fitway Classic. So
Yeah.
there's bodybuilding, there's I think there's CrossFit, and there was strongman too.
Uh
But it
huh.
wasn't really strongman. It was more of like a CrossFit for strongman, or like high reps, a 150 kilo deadlift for reps. You can imagine the amount of cardio you need for that.
Yeah. So did you
But
participate?
yeah, I did. But they still call it strongman though.
Oh, did you win that one as well, or?
I won. Yeah, I won. So it was a car deadlift, but the weight in the handles was only 150 because the handles were so far away from the car itself. So like you're only lifting up a very small portion of the car. So the weight in your hands was only 150 or like 160, I think they said. And then it was 100 kilo bench for reps.
How much did you do?
And I think I did 22 around there. Yeah.
Back then, right?
Then yeah, actually no, the first comp I came second.
Oh, really?
Came second by 1 point or like half a point, I think. And then the years after that, I won. Yeah.
So, but when did powerlifting start, like in Thailand? I think
Powerlift
TPA? A?
Powerlifting started it started with Bond, yeah, with TPA. And
Yeah.
the first one I didn't participate. Um yeah, it was done around 2 years after after the Fitway strongman competition.
Yeah. So even in Thailand, it's like a pretty new sport, right?
It's a
Powerlifting
new
and stuff.
sport. It's a new sport, but I think people like more people are getting into it for sure. Because now there's with there's gyms that facilitate powerlifting training. Of
Yeah.
course, there's PPF. Then there's more competitions to join now,
Yeah.
and it's
So
pretty easy to train too. It's pretty straightforward. You can do powerlifting in any gym, in a
yeah,
commercial
exactly,
gym even. It's more
exactly.
straightforward. In strongman, there's too many variables, and there's so many events. I think the logistics that's required to host a strongman competition is more difficult. Like more planning for sure.
Yeah. So like you're like a strongman, powerlifting. You do both, right? So which one
Yeah.
do you think you like better, like powerlifting or like strongman? Because I see you go back and forth on both sports quite often.
Um, I enjoy both. I enjoy both equally. I think yeah, I enjoy both, man. I enjoy both.
You can't choose one, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's hard. So I'm still deciding. I like strongman because of its versatility.
Yeah, exactly.
But then powerlifting is also like it's straightforward. I think it's a better test of like pure strength.
Yeah. But I think powerlifting is more like favorable to guys like me who have like a stronger lower body compared to just upper body, right? What do you think about that? I think it's more lower body heavy, right?
I think so. I think so. Oh well,
Yeah.
actually, like you've never tried strongman, right?
I've never tried strongman. Like
Yeah, there you
I
go. So
did
you never know.
yeah, I did a log with you once, right? Like 60 kgs or something.
How did it
And
feel?
I don't know, 60. It felt like 60 kgs, not too heavy, but like,
Yeah.
but I haven't done anything. I think
But
we did like a sandbag or something over the yoke once, just for
we
fun.
did. Well, we did. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We did some
Yeah,
sandbags. Yeah.
yeah, and then the yoke as well. I think 210 kgs or something.
I mean, like
Yeah,
you're strong, man. Like you're a strong dude. So I think you have the base for because there's many
yeah,
powerlifters out there, who transition to strongman and vice versa, and they do very very well.
yeah. So
Because strong is strong, right? Like if you're a good powerlifter, you have a very strong base
yeah,
to do strongman and vice versa as well. Look at Thor. Thor's a strong man. He what did he total? Like
11,
thousand, yeah, something like yeah,
close to 11, close to 11.
yeah.
So yeah, all those things aside, like, what's your like training philosophy? Because do you have like a system? Do you always like for me, I like to train with the coach, and whatever the coach says, I just do it. Or like, do you just feel it out, or like, what's your approach on the
I
type of
right
training?
now I am taking a break because there's no competitions in sight right now. So I'm just training from out of my own enjoyment right now. Um, doing a bit of boxing now, believe it or not,
Yeah.
just to mix things up because like I think it's a good skill to have and it's very good cardio.
I,
Because when I was prepping for the powerlifting meet, I didn't do much cardio at all, so I felt very sluggish and I needed to do something about that. So like, what better way to fix that than some boxing?
He's also inspired by Thor and Eddie, or what?
Yeah, yeah, that too for sure. But I've always like I used to box when I was younger, so like I'm familiar with the sport and I've always enjoyed it. So,
Yeah.
but when I'm prepping for a competition, um I follow a conjugate system. Are you familiar with that?
No, I've dabbled into it, but I'm not like the biggest fan of changing things up too often and then maxing out too often as well. But you could like give the viewers
Are
like an
your
insight
are
how
your
you,
followers
yeah. Sorry.
followers aware about conjugate?
I don't think so. Ojas, do you know anything about conjugate? So if he doesn't know, probably other people don't know too.
West Side, West Side,
Yeah.
Louis
So
Simmons system.
so yeah, like let's just get into conjugate then. So for anybody like they don't know anything about conjugate, how would you explain it to them, and then how
So
do you
so
program it?
so conjugate is basically it's a system where it's a training system where you basically you have 2 days. You have a max effort day and then a speed day. So on max effort day, it's when um you you don't really you don't squat, bench, and deadlift. You do a close variation of that. And you pick the variation by addressing your weakness. So for instance, for me, like if you have a weak lockout in deadlift, you might program in some mid shin block pulls. If you're weak in the bottom part of a squat, then you may program in some pause squats. So that's for max effort, and you go heavy on max effort. Um, it's basically like it mimics a competition environment. You go heavy, but you don't have to max. You don't have to do a 1 rep max. You can change around the reps, and obviously the closer you get to competition, the lower the reps get and the heavier the weights get as well. And then on speed days it's where you do the main lift itself. So you do the squat, you do the bench, you do the deadlift. On speed days, the main focus is speed. You want to move the bar as fast as you can from point A to point B, with only 50 to 60% of the weight you did on the max effort day.
So
Because I
this is
think like and
yeah,
speed is very important. I like for to increase your lifts. I
yeah,
think
for sure.
the faster you can move the bar, the the better you will be at breaking sticking points,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it really forces you to accelerate, um, and it forces you to really like keep tension throughout the entire movement, which in turn will help you break your sticking point or get past your sticking point, I think.
Yeah, yeah, and so you do the comp movements twice a week, and then what about
So there's lower
accessories?
body, so there's
Yeah,
lower body max effort, lower body speed day, upper body max effort, and upper body speed day. So we
yeah.
train
So
about 4 to 5 times a week, and
yeah,
then you do your main movement. So on max effort day, I might do for deadlift, my weak part is my lockout. I might do some mid shin block pulls as the main workout, and then I'll pick a second accessory, like a secondary movement, and then I'll do more higher volume on that as well. And then the reps get lower once you get to the comp, and the weights get higher, obviously, as well.
Yeah.
But then the speed work stays the same though. Some people, man, like some people post like 270 kilo speed work. Like, how is that speed work 270 when you have guys like Thor who has a like 450 max and he's doing speed work with only 180. So it's a very misconstrued word, this
Yeah.
speed
Yeah.
work day.
Yeah, people I think like to lift more weight all the time, and then whenever they feel good, they just want to, just get
Yeah,
out of the program and then just do whatever they want to.
but then they still write speed work. That's the thing. They still write.
So for you, let's say your deadlift is around 330, right? So
Yeah.
what's a speed workout for you like with the
For me
weights?
will be around 150, 140 to 150. And then I might put, if I put bands on the bar, then the weight on the bar will be lower, of course. If there's no band, then around 150.
Yeah, so that's a typical
But with
speed.
bands, maybe it depends on the tension of the band too. But if I use bands, and the weight on the bar might be only 120 or 130 even. Sometimes it's not about the weight, right? When you train, it's not always about putting weight on the bar. It's about moving faster, moving more efficiently.
Yeah, of course. And I think one of the, for me, just as a power lifter and the things that I program, how do you approach it for beginners? So let's say for you and me, we could max out quite frequently, and then we still not have major technical breakdown, and then we also discuss a lot about technique, that it doesn't matter so much, but
No.
like but the general rules have to align, like your back needs to be in a certain way, and then your knees
Yeah,
need
your
to be in a
hips
certain way.
your hips can't shoot up too much.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
let's say for a beginner, like the it's more about technical failure before the muscular failure comes into place. So when you're programming a conjugate style and you have a max effort day, let's say somebody who's just pulling like 100, he probably doesn't even know what his weakness is. Sometimes it's like week 5 is faster than the first week. Rep 5 is faster than the first rep, and then the sticking point is sometimes lockout, sometimes he can't move it off the floor. So for people like that, how would you design a conjugate training style?
I for the max effort day, I would have the lifter do the main movement itself.
Yeah, so I think,
Don't need to do any block pulls yet. Just be efficient at pulling off the floor, or be efficient at squatting, like full range and bench, of course.
yeah,
Because
because,
because like because we like I think the the lifter has to he's gotta have a few months of lifting first, so
yeah,
that until we see like a sticking point,
yeah,
or a weak spot in the
yeah.
movement for the lifter.
Yeah, because some lifters, they don't even know they're failing at lockout sometimes, but sometimes off the floor they don't even
Yeah,
know. Like
and
the
then and
reps
then
are all
and then
different.
yeah, and then next day they're fast at lockout. So
Yeah, yeah. So
yeah,
this is, I think, not necessarily a limitation, but maybe something. If people are watching, then if they're like not advanced or elite, then maybe just thinking what you're doing is probably not the best way to do it too.
even when I do the max effort days, I do variations, but they're close variations.
Yeah,
So like the movement is still very similar to the main movement itself. So
yeah,
if I'm programming in block pulls, it's not a high block. It's not an 18-inch block, because that's completely useless in my opinion. It's
yeah,
more of a like low block or a 12-inch pull.
yeah.
Yeah,
Also, like we see a lot of lifters, even in Thailand, because we speak about Thailand, but also in Nepal, who really want to, show off big weights. Like they want to
ego
pull
lift,
off
right?
blocks, they want to pull off
Yeah,
blocks, and especially like sumo deadlift is like just even 1 inch block is a completely different movement, in my opinion, for a sumo deadlift, and it makes the lift so much different. I mean, I don't think I would, maybe I would be able to pull even, let's say, 350 or something crazy
for sure,
from
for sure.
from my knee level, right? Because it's a technically
Absolutely.
advantageous position.
Yeah.
But yeah, people do that a lot, and then when it comes comp day, and then they struggle, right? So I think
I think
variation
I
also
think for
they
yeah.
I think they also have to keep in mind like if the variation is actually useful, right?
Yeah, like I mean, if you're pulling off an 18-inch block, the whole movement becomes different. The way
Yeah.
you set up and like the angle of your back, it's completely different, and there's no carryover whatsoever to deadlifting off the floor. And you can lift like 200 kilos more sometimes when you do like high block pulls.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do
Yeah.
block pulls, I think you're better off doing it with no straps, because that way you can also train your grip, because you can lift more weight. So might as well just ditch the straps and just go strapless and work on your grip.
Yeah. So at
Then
least something's working, right?
yeah, exactly. And then just hold it at the top for like 5-6 seconds, and at least there you can train your grip quite effectively too.
Yeah, but like 350 from blocks sumo with straps is I don't think it's impressive at all.
I think for sumo, like your best bet is to do sumo off the floor.
Yeah, exactly.
Very technical lift, don't you think?
Yeah, yeah, very very technical, and then like it's like a hit or miss. Even when I just put sometimes when my hips are like really like burnt out or sore, then even when I just put one block, like not even an
Mm,
inch, it makes so
mm.
much of a difference. It's so much easier.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Because most sumo pullers are like slow off the floor.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
It's not really an aggressive lift.
Yeah, you gotta be patient and then like
Yeah,
just slack and everything, right?
unless you're like Dan Green or like Caleb Williams, they're pretty aggressive even when they pull
Yeah,
sumo, and they're
yeah,
fast off the floor and kind of slower at lockout. But
yeah,
then I think like you and most of the guys, you're slow off the floor, but when the
yeah,
bar does break the floor, it just goes up pretty fast.
yeah, exactly.
Bank is the same way too. He's slow off the floor, but he's
Bank
he's
Bank is a beast too, man. Like
yeah. I
I
think
would
he's training. I think he's training now as we speak.
yeah. Yeah, he's another strong. I would love to have him on the podcast, but I don't know if he would be able to speak for an hour or so. So I thought like maybe while I'm in Thailand with a translator or something, like three of us
Yeah,
or something, we could do
yeah,
like a training session when I'm
for
there,
sure. Sure, let's
maybe in
do it.
August. Yeah, like just go for something. You guys pull over 300. I'll pull over like high 200.
So you peak for the calm in August, and you also
Yeah.
peak for the deadlift training.
Yeah, because for me, I always wanted to pull on a deadlift bar with like big plates on it. So I think, and of course straps, low hanging straps would be
Yeah.
pretty cool. So I think in August, if we get the chance to, we should do it,
Oh,
man.
absolutely, absolutely, man, absolutely.
That would be pretty insane.
Yeah, I think it might actually like surprise you, because I know like with the bar whip and the big plates, you get more whip on the bar and less range of motion for the bar to travel. But you'll be surprised at the whip of like the width of the bar might
Yeah, throw
potentially
you
throw
off,
you
right?
off. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure, for sure.
yeah, but I
Even for
think
me, when I first pulled on the deadlift bar, um, it wasn't that easy for me because the bar whip really, really threw me off, and it took
yeah.
some time for me to actually like be able to brace harder and really be in control of the bar.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Like, yeah, so you pull conventional and you're like very, very successful. You also dabbled into like some sumo deadlift work. Like, do you think because
I
like
did, I did.
like I don't mind it because it's everybody's opinion, but people like guys with strong conventional deadlifts like they sort of don't like sumo pullers, and then sumo is cheating and all those things. What's your take on it?
Well, sumo is not cheating because it's allowed in the rule book, so it's not cheating.
Yeah.
And I've tried sumo to no avail. Like I was able to pull, I think, 270, 270 after 2-3 times trying sumo, and after that my knee started caving in, and it just felt awkward. It didn't feel natural to me. I think if I mean like because the range of motion is shorter than a conventional deadlift, you can probably progress faster with sumo, but the technique is pretty hard to grasp, I think,
Yeah, exactly.
especially like with guys with long legs like me. It's awkward because my knees start caving in a lot when I have
Yeah,
a wide stance.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's hard. It's definitely a hard lift. Like if I was to sumo over 330, it would definitely take some time, for like maybe a year or year and a half, maybe even 2 years.
Who knows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think like if you got like a strong sumo pull, like your conventional is not going to be very weak. Like let's say for me, I can sumo like 285, 290, right? But my conventional is not going to be 180.
What's your conventional?
I haven't pulled conventional like a max in a long time, but I feel like 250 I should be able to do it. I don't know. I think I should
I
be able
think
to do
so. I
250.
think so because like most strong sumo pullers make strong conventional deadlifts too. I make strong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because like it's such a I just need to get used to like hands out legs in rather to the opposite, right? So once I get the
yeah.
hang of it, I think it shouldn't be a problem to pull at least 250. Like maybe in like 3 months or so I should be able to pull around 350. I feel like.
Even Yuri Belkin, he's got a 400 sumo, and he's conventional deadlift is like 350 for a few reps.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah,
like your back is still
strong as
getting
well.
work, your glutes, your
Strong as
hamstrings are
well.
still getting work, right?
For sure.
So
Yeah.
so in your opinion, it's not cheating.
No, it's not cheating at all. Like try sumo. Like for those who say it's cheating, try it, man. It's a lot harder than what you think.
Yeah,
It's more
because
technical. It's more technical.
yeah, but like initially when guys are starting out, they're like conventional is like 150 or let's say even 200. It's not. Then maybe like sumo could feel easier because of the shorter range of motion. But I think when
Yeah.
you're at the higher end, like because efficiency and your capacity to pull and your capacity to grind, it's like a completely different movement. So I think your sumo is not automatically going to be stronger than conventional because like most of the people that I see who in Nepal who say like sumo is easy is because they're just pulling like 80 kilos, 100 kilos, and like
Oh yeah.
obviously because the range of motion is shorter, sumo is going to be easier. But when you put serious load on the bar, then like the bar's not going to move up with
No,
even with
no.
sumo,
Yeah.
even with sumo, it's not going to break the floor.
Yeah. Hey, if you're strong, you're strong, right? If you're strong,
Yeah,
then you're strong all around, basically.
yeah.
Do most people in Nepal pull sumo or conventional?
Most pull sumo
Sumo, yeah,
because they
for
think
sure.
like sumo is
Okay.
definitely easier. But we don't have many efficient sumo pullers that I see of. I think I would be one of the most efficient looking sumo pullers in Nepal, and even Ojas is pretty good in sumo. But we don't have many efficient pullers. They're like sumo stands, but conventional deadlift sort of like
Okay. Okay.
just pull the bar up. But
Okay.
because when they started out there, it's more like sumo was easier because they're pulling so little weight, but they're not putting emphasis on technical efficiency and all those things.
Yeah. When they start pulling like 180 and above, then they'll start like
Yeah, and then the
then they
knees
might change the
cave
technique
in.
completely. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and then the
Yeah.
hip shoot up, and then like a bicep about to pop out, and then like
Because
all
it's
this.
it's easy to it's I mean it takes little time to get from like let's say 100 to like 180. Doesn't take too long. And then after that, that's when things get more technical.
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
course, it varies from person to person, but like strength plateaus after the 200 kilo mark, more or less. I
Yeah,
think
yeah, pretty much. Like especially like normal size guys and normal weight
some
guys.
some some people like change completely from sumo to conventional, and also vice versa as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
Even
when your
like
body type changes,
yeah,
when your body changes, you get
yeah.
bigger,
So
you get leaner, and you
yeah, so
take.
for me, I was in 2018, 2017, I competed my first meet conventional, so I pulled 220 back then. And
Oh,
then
okay.
like when I shifted to sumo after like 6 months or something, I was just able to pull 225 sumo. So it was about the same strength at the time, but obviously now sumo is definitely stronger because I haven't conventional deadlifted.
In strongman, you can't sumo.
Yeah.
You're only conventional.
Why
Then
do you
then
think the reason is?
I don't know really. I don't know, but it's always actually the world's strongest man 1 year in the 1980s. A few guys were doing sumo, and it was allowed back then. So
Yeah.
I think he banned it not too long ago, maybe like late 1990s or early 2000s. But it's I don't know the exact reason
But I
why.
think like even if like Thor and Brancha, all these guys were allowed to sumo, like their body is like conventional would uh, be strong either way because I don't think their
For
sumo
sure.
would be so much stronger because of how they're built, right?
If they pull
How
sumo,
you're successful in strongman too, tall and then
they,
long.
if they pull sumo, they'll be pulling like a sumo but with a conventional style.
Yeah,
I don't think they have the hip
yeah,
flexibility.
like
Yeah,
yeah. Branshaw pulls sumo like a conventional, like it's so wide, right? He's almost at
yeah,
the end of the barbell, and then he's pulling
yeah,
conventional.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so
because he's so wide, right? So he has to stand like shoulder width, and his shoulder width is like like 10 times of a normal person's shoulder weight.
So it's like his legs are like a sumo position for most
It's
people.
kind of strange because like in in strongman for deadlift, you can wear a suit, you can wear straps, you can put on baby oil, so the bar slides up your thighs easier. And you can hitch, you can whatever you want from point A to point B. Anything's allowed, but they don't allow sumo.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
more impressed. I'm more impressed with a 450 raw sumo than a guy who pulls like 400 conventional, but with straps and a suit and with the ugly hitch.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I'm more in favor of the guy pulling a 450 raw sumo.
Yeah, this Dan Griggs, right? He just pulled something massive.
Yeah,
Dan
oh yeah,
Dan
he
Griggs.
just
Oh
he
shit.
got the new world record, raw powerlifting world
Yeah,
record, a full meet too.
full meat. But his bench and squat were quite low, quite low
I think
for
on
him,
purpose.
even for him.
I think on purpose.
Yeah, on purpose for sure, because
What's
he
it?
probably wanted the deadlift record first, and then now
Yeah.
he wants to go for the total record or something.
What did he squat? Like
Two seventy,
280?
270,
Oh,
270, something like that, and
yeah, it
then
went up
bench.
fast. I remember seeing it. It
Yeah.
flew up.
Yeah. So for you, like, how disciplined are you in terms of like nutrition, like training? I know you like you never miss workouts. You're training super duper hard. Like we used to train for like 3, 4, 5 hours, like 2019, 2020. But in terms of nutrition, how is it like for you? Because I think yeah,
Nutrition
yeah.
only. I eat whatever basically. But it's only the last 2 weeks before I come if I have to cut weight. Because in strongman I compete in U90, and usually I walk around like 96 or 97 kilos. So I do a water cut and a short diet just so I can make weight for the weigh-ins. So the last 2 weeks I start restricting my carbs.
Yeah. So, but
Yeah,
in general,
and I
it's
start
like
counting macros. Sorry.
in general, but are you still like actively trying to get in more protein and then less fat
Yeah,
or
for
something
sure.
like that?
Yeah, I make sure I get about three times my body, three times protein. Oh, how do you say it again?
Three
Um,
times, three times your body weight in protein.
three times, yeah, three times my body weight. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So I eat whatever, but I make sure that I get enough protein intake.
yeah. So lots of protein and lots of carbs, and maybe
Yeah.
you're not ingesting too much fat just before a workout or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because you also want to be able to perform right, like not too much gas in the stomach and stuff.
Yeah. Carbs is key because like for you too, I guess, like we
Yeah.
train like we have long sessions. So I think
Yeah.
we need a lot of carbs, like fast acting carbs, as a pre-workout as well.
Yeah.
And
And
then maybe
then
sometimes like a chocolate bar in between sessions as well.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Like and like Thailand, you train in Muscle Factory where we used to train. It's super duper hot, right? Like humid.
It's hot. It's even hotter now because there was a like heat wave a few days ago. It's happening now as well. It's insanely hot for the past like 5 to 6 days now.
Yeah. So like and then lots of water hydration. Like it just feels
Yeah.
so much tiresome, like compared to training in Nepal or like
But
somewhere cool.
we train in the evenings. Even when you
Yeah.
were here, you were training in
Yeah.
the evenings. So I think
Yeah.
it's a lot
Exactly.
better in the evenings. And
Yeah.
there's less people too when we train, so that also helps as well.
Yeah. But it's crazy. It's really really hard. And then like we always like sort of like not necessarily joke about it, but like people they're trying to get away with doing technique work, and then they're spending more time on rehab than they're supposed to be working out, and following mobility drills. What do you think its place is in training?
I think it's a very trendy topic now. People love it. People love to hear it. When you see a seminar about like hip mobility or like about injury rehab or prehab, people hop on it. People love it. People want to hear this like complicated issue about like the hip, about the SI joint and all that. Sometimes I think it's not that relevant to like real training situations. What do you think?
Yeah, like me,
It's a very trendy
yeah,
topic now, especially in
like,
Thailand. People love it.
yeah,
People love to
yeah,
overcomplicate things.
yeah. Believe it or not, I fell into the trap for like a few months as well, right? And I was doing like mobility stuff and like stretching out so much. Like a little is fine. Like sometimes it just feels tight and stuff, and I roll it out and it's fine. But I fell into the sort of a trap too. But at the end of the day, like for me, it was proper programming and load management, stress management outside the gym, and then like I'm able to stay more relatively injury free, I think.
Yeah, I think having a proper training program, training structure is more important than doing all the mobility stuff. You think so?
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. And then like no matter how much mobility you do, right? At the end of the day, if you're,
Not gonna make you
if
stronger.
yeah, it's definitely not going to make you stronger. But if you overdo on the training, like too much, more than what your body can handle, you're going to get injured any which ways, right?
And it drains energy, man. Like some guys I see, they foam roll for like 45 minutes, and that's tiring, man. That's painful and tiring, and it's definitely like it's harder for them than the actual workout itself. And they work out for like half an hour or like another 40, like only 45 minutes. They stretch for 45 minutes and they train for like 30 or 40 minutes.
Yeah, we've seen people obviously at the gym, and then their numbers also like,
Everywhere,
and
everywhere,
then
even in commercial gyms, everywhere.
yeah, and then they want to be like a powerlifter, but their numbers stuck forever because they're focusing on, I think, the wrong things too
Yeah.
sometimes.
And then when they have a small hip shift with in the warm-ups, they strip the bar down and then they start again and they make sure they don't have that hip shift.
So I think this is, yeah, I think it's like people want to get away with, they want to get away with not doing the hard stuff because hard stuff is actually really, really hard. And the lights have come back.
And
Yeah, go on. I'm still here.
and they're probably very like, they read a lot of these articles online,
Yeah.
and these articles, it causes fear of movement, I think, because some articles they just write about like, like never have a hip shift is bad, your knees cannot cave in at all, otherwise your knees will explode, your knees will break or whatever, and people read that and then they get scared.
Yeah, exactly. I've been coaching so many people online all the time, and then like especially with powerlifting, people want to associate powerlifting with injuries only. But I think it's a part. It's injury is a part of any sport, right? No
Yeah,
matter
for
football,
sure,
rugby, even just like running a marathon
for sure.
or playing golf, like something so low impact. Like when we think of golf, how could you potentially hurt yourself, right? But when you look at every level guys or like guys been doing it for such a long time, they've run into
Yeah,
so many injuries from playing golf because all you do is
yeah,
hit the ball and then you just walk. How could you get injured, right? But
yeah.
the injury rate when you see is almost as equal as powerlifting or even bodybuilding.
Even more
Even
sometimes.
more, exactly.
Even soccer or like contacts, like even soccer, rugby, or
Soccer is
American
definitely
football.
higher.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
definitely
like
higher.
especially the ACL in the knee, right? Because you're constantly moving back, moving forward, moving left, moving right, and that's definitely like it's not healthy for the knees in the long run.
Yeah, yeah, and then
How like if you do it correctly, then it's a pretty safe sport, I think.
exactly, because it's like it's a controlled environment. Like most of the time that I've gotten hurt, I knew beforehand that something was off today. I knew
Yeah,
for sure like something is off, but like my, not ego, but like my, like my drive, like my determination, just told me like, oh, you gotta do this workout, man. Come on, don't be a bitch, sort of a thing. So like just went in and then got hurt, something like that.
yeah. But if you have a proper training program and like like you keep your ego in check, I guess, then it's not hard to stay injury free, I think, in
Yeah,
powerlifting.
yeah, because it's
Because the
such a
movement is
controlled sport, right?
yeah, exactly. And the movement is not that much if you compare it to like MMA or rugby or soccer. It's just squatting, benching, and deadlifting.
Yeah,
Of course, there's wear and tear, but wear and tear is part of every sport or everything you do,
exactly,
right? It
exactly.
comes,
Even like I said, golf, right? Nothing.
yeah,
It looks like nothing.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
I think
Uh,
I think people like I think because like the sport that we do, it doesn't require like a lot of skill. It's a very easy skill to learn
exactly.
if you compare it to like sports like what MMA, boxing, golf, soccer. There's much more skill in those sports compared to powerlifting. So I think a lot more emphasis should be spent on building strength, and building strength takes time. It takes a lot of time.
Exactly.
That's why I think it's better to focus on the actual like training program itself. Get a good
Yeah.
coach, know what you're doing, pick the right exercises, and go from there. But the skill
Yeah.
wise, you can learn someone, you can teach someone to do a sumo deadlift in like 2 sessions, right? Or
Yeah,
like a week
exactly.
tops.
Yeah, exactly. Very
And then
efficient
maybe,
puller. Maybe like a very efficient sumo deadlifter in an hour.
yeah, and
If
then
you
maybe a few weeks until the
practice.
lifter finds his own groove and finds his
Exactly.
own technique.
Exactly.
And then after that, you build from there with a good program.
Yeah, exactly. So I think like power lifters sometimes they also like for me like I don't think powerlifting is really a hardcore sport, right? So like
Hmm.
it's very simple. Like you gotta lift weight. Obviously, you gotta eventually add more weight to the bar. You gotta stay relatively healthy, relatively injury free, not overweight, and then just mix it with everything that goes around with your life, right? So you don't have to. People I see like not elite level guys, but people who are just starting out like, oh, they're so hardcore, like, oh, discipline, power, come on, I am the guy, sort of a
Yeah,
mentality, like no
yeah.
pain, no gain. But I think those things have its place, like sometimes during a hard week of hard phase of training, then you gotta grind it through. But for the most part, it's I think pretty chill sport. What do you think about that?
I think so too. I think it's a very methodical sport. You have to be
Yeah,
pretty structured because it is like
yeah,
you have to take
yeah,
care of your body along the way, and it's a
yeah,
lot of wear and tear in our sport. So I think you have to be pretty methodical with the way you train. Like if your weakness is off the floor, what should I do to address that? My weakness is off the chest or at the bench lockout. What do I do to which exercise should I put in to address that? So
yeah.
it's a
It
have to
needs
do a lot of
planning.
analyzing, a lot of thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and it takes time. You have to have patience. Like it takes a lot of time, and then your body always evolves. Things constantly change in your training, and then yeah,
Yeah, and you gotta adapt and all those things. And
you
I
gotta
think
adapt.
that,
Yeah,
yeah, and I think like because powerlifting is like we talked about it earlier as well. It's such a easy sport to get into because all you gotta do is be able to total 75 kgs, right, to be a powerlifter.
yeah,
So
yeah,
and then
yeah,
uh, and then like the first few months or even years, your number goes from like 25 to like 100, quite nicely, and then you eventually face your first plateau, and then and then like you break past it, and then you're motivated again. But then like the
yeah.
plateaus get harder and harder and harder to
Gets
break,
harder. Absolutely.
and then like it's harder and harder to maintain weight. It's harder and harder to the training gets longer and longer and longer, right? Eventually,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I like those big guys. I'm sure they're training for like 5 6 hours or something crazy like
yeah,
that.
yeah. And they're
So
probably plateauing like so often,
yeah,
you
they're
know.
plateauing for like 5 years.
And they're only gaining like a few kilos on their total every year.
Yeah, yeah, and
That's if
then
they stay healthy. Because I think staying injury free is pretty like it's pretty hard at that level, especially for
exactly.
those heavyweight guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think like patience is very very important, and I like most of the people that I see. Like for me, I want to keep people in the sport. So I'm trying to find out ways how I can keep people in the sport because I don't want them to burn out. Like, but people burn out quite fast in this sport too. That I've noticed. What do you think?
or they give up. Like they plateau and then they give up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
you
it's
have to have patience. Like I think you will definitely encounter some kind of obstacle in your in
of
your in your
course,
training,
of
and
course.
then and that's the fun part for me. I think it's fun to like see where you're at and how to address your current issue, what exercise to take out, what exercise to choose. I think it's fun.
Yeah, it's like
That's where it
a
gets fun for me. Like to actually like find ways to blast to break your plateau.
exactly. So I
Yeah.
think if you're more, I think process oriented, then I think it's going to be better rather than just like chasing a clout or a number or like it's fine to chase numbers like we compete for the numbers, but it's not only about the number or like this certain thing, and but rather just like enjoy the process. I think.
Yeah, for sure. Because at the end of the day, like when you're competing, like nobody cares if you're pulling 400 or pulling like 200. Everyone will share for you the same,
Exactly,
and
exactly.
everyone appreciates the effort, right?
Exactly, exactly. Like a grinder 180 would get more cheers than like a easy 300,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Especially
that
like Nepal and Thailand, where nobody really knows like the how heavy 320 is on the bar. So when
exactly.
someone's pulling 20, you get the same shear, same amount of shears. on someone who's pulling like 250, because that's already considered heavy in Thailand.
Exactly. Like people don't know the magnitude of the difference. Like they think 100 is heavy, but like 200 is also heavy, but like they don't know how much of a difference. And when you go from 200 to 300 and 300 to 330, right? Like
Yeah,
300 to
yeah,
330 is like it's years of work. It's
yeah,
not like
for sure.
unless you're like Larry Wheels or somebody. For someone like me, like 300 to 330 would be like years of work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So people, I
People
think,
watching
don't
can understand the effort you put in, when you grind
exactly,
and all the
exactly.
training and all that. So it's, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just wanted to ask some.
Big fan of strength. Big fan of all things strength. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah. Just a curious question. When did you first pull 300?
In a
Do you
meet,
remember
right?
it? Do you remember it? No, at the gym or wherever,
Uh,
or do you not?
Raw, right?
Yeah,
Raw.
raw. Yeah.
I think I think it was done in a meet in my first TPA competition. It was about 3 years ago. That's when I think I pulled 305. And before
Oh,
that in training, the most I've done was I think 280 for a few reps.
oh. So
Yeah.
you went from 280 for a few reps directly 305,
So
305
all my best deadlifts are done
meets, right?
in competition. Yeah. I
Yeah.
wish I could say the same for squat and bench, but that's not the case.
For yeah, I think yeah, it makes sense, but because you're the strongest in deadlift, right? Even for me, like competition squat is always higher than training squat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Squatting is the first exercise too. So like you go
save
into the
up.
squat pretty fresh, right?
Do you save up? Do you save up during squat? Because for me, like squat, I'm going all in. I don't care. And like my
I actually hit my best squat in my latest comp, 265 in competition. And in training, the most I've done prior to that was I think 240 for 3 reps.
yeah,
And then I
okay,
saved my best squat to the competition.
yeah. So 265. Like you're a weak squatter and it's 265.
I changed to low bar like 2 3 weeks before the comp because my high bar wasn't going anywhere, and it was just like it's just for a guy with my levers, it's just not worth it to squat high bar.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
found out that I'll definitely squat more if I change to low bar. So I changed to low bar only like 3 weeks out of the competition. So I was
yeah,
squatting like 3 weeks, and I was squatting 3 days, on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 3 times a week. I was squatting low bar, just practicing low bar with very light weight though. And then on my last session, I squatted 240 for 3. So I think it came up pretty fast.
yeah. It looks
Yeah,
pretty good. Look pretty good
for
in
for
sleeves too.
yeah.
In
Yeah,
sleeves too.
I think if I started doing low bar maybe 2 months before the comp, I definitely could have squatted more for sure.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
sure. It's
for
just the
sure.
movement. The movement is kind of weird because the bar is still moving on my back. When I get to the top, it moves, and when it moves, I panic. So that's the only thing holding me back.
Yeah. So,
So
yeah, and like, what's your thought on like sleeve and uh, wraps? How much do you get out of it?
I get oh I get a lot of reps because I have bad knees, and so when I squat with sleeves, I still feel pain on my knees, and that's also another issue that's holding me back. Um, but then when I put wraps on, it takes the knee pain away, and then I can use my quads more with when I squat, and then so it definitely helps me a lot. I get about maybe 40 kilos, and
Yeah.
I wrap myself too, man.
Yeah,
So
I've seen you
yeah,
rap a lot. Yeah.
yeah.
Pretty
Which I'll
cool stuff.
probably like. If you do a calm, like I wouldn't recommend you self rapping because that's just gonna, it's not fun, man.
Yeah. I don't want to compete in raps. I don't like raps at all. Like my raw
If you
squat
have
is pretty good. Yeah.
if you have someone to rap for you, then it could be fun.
Oh, let's
But then
see,
it's just a
man.
hassle. It's a hassle. It's painful.
If I get 40, obviously my back isn't as strong as yours, and I won't be able to handle like 40 kilos over my raw. But if I were to get like 40 kilos, it would be pretty damn cool, man.
But you've never really like done raps, right? You never really had a solid set, like a solid training session.
Yeah, I like early days, like we didn't know, I didn't know, or like the organization didn't know what is rap and what is sleeves, right? They just thought like powerlifting,
So you
whatever.
were allowed to wear
Yeah,
raps.
we were allowed to wear wraps, and I competed in wraps too, but like not much knowledge. Even now, I don't have much knowledge about wraps. Obviously, I've train guys to compete in wraps, but not as nicely, or like I don't know how to use it as nicely as I can use like a extra small SPD sleeve.
Yeah, I think wraps. It's there's like an art to wrapping as well. There's ways
Yeah,
to wrap so you get more out
exactly,
of the wrap. And
exactly.
if you have someone who knows what he's doing to wrap you, then you definitely will get 40 kilos at least.
40 kilos,
For
shit.
sure, for sure. But you have to train it though. Like your first session, you probably won't get anything the first session.
Yeah, even low, right? Because it's
Yeah.
hurt. It's gonna hurt so
But then,
bad.
but then if you spend like a training cycle in wraps, I'm sure you'll definitely get used to it, and you'll definitely get like 30 to 40 kilos, maybe
Shit.
even more for
Maybe I would
wraps.
get 300 in wraps.
Yeah, for sure, for
Pretty
sure,
cool. That would be pretty cool.
for sure, for sure.
uh,
'Cause, like, you're strong. Are you strong at lockout in the squat?
I'm
Pretty
not
smooth, right?
like
Yeah, you're smooth,
yeah,
right?
pretty smooth. Like off the hole, just a bit higher off the hole. I'm a bit weaker there. Like
Yeah,
not at lockout, but like mid range. I'm pretty weak there. I'm pretty weak.
yeah.
Like in the mid range, sort of a
Okay.
thing.
Because the wraps help you become more explosive, helps you get that extra pop out of the hole, right? And
Yeah.
when you get that extra pop out of the hole, it will help you throughout the entire movement.
Exactly, because I'm not wasting so
Yeah,
much energy there, right?
exactly. Yeah, and if you
Yeah,
put more power into it, it will definitely help you all the way up.
yeah, because like
Yeah,
we mentioned, like speed is gonna break through the plateau,
yeah,
right?
exactly, exactly. Speed work with
Yeah,
wraps, that should
yeah,
help. That should help a lot.
yeah. What's your plans now, like for 2022? What's the plan? You said like you're gonna compete in strongman comp in Dubai or something like that, and then what's the plan for this year? Numbers or anything in mind?
There's a com in Dubai called Middle East Strongest Man, and it's a qualifier for World Strongest Man, a qualifier for the under 90, under 105, and under 80 kilo World Strongest Man. So that's the plan right now, but I'm still waiting for them to announce the weight of the events.
So you're gonna be doing
105,
105, 105, right?
105.
So
Yeah,
you're gonna
yeah.
bulk up or stay the same weight?
Um, roughly the same. Like right now, I'm like 97, 98. So I think I perform best when I'm at this body weight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Some
then you're
people, when some people go up a weight class, they think, oh, I got to bulk up. I got to bulk up. But that's not always a good idea. You want it to
exactly,
be muscle, not fat. If you do it too fast, you're going to gain fat. And that's
exactly.
not your
That's
performance.
not gonna help you, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like you,
How,
like you also bulked up a lot and you took time, right?
yeah,
You
it's
took
been
time.
like 2.5 years, right? But I'm still a
Yeah,
bit fat. I'm still a bit fat, but getting there slowly.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
How tall are you? How tall are you?
A 180.
So that's like 6 feet, 6 feet.
Yeah, 6 foot. Yeah, yeah,
6 foot. Yeah. So like people don't know, but you're really big, man. Like for your weight, you look really
yeah.
really big, all muscle.
I've got small legs. I've got small quads. I've got small quads and small calves. So I guess all the weight is on my upper body.
And you look like monster, like big guy, big guy. What else are you doing outside of training? Like you started a new apparel, and what else are you
Yeah,
doing?
I have my apparel brand. It's called Drip. Um, and so it's basically like just clothing to wear for training, for to go outside or whatever, you know. And I'm wearing the shirt right now. You see
Yeah, yeah,
there, and then I got caps there.
yeah,
You can
yeah,
see it. Yeah. And then
yeah.
I think I'm launching more. I think I have a new T-shirt coming out in the next day or two. So yeah,
So apparel.
apparel.
Yeah, you gave me deadlift socks, and then
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
for Neha as well. So we'll be wearing it to the session soon because my stuffs just came in from Thailand.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Thank you. Appreciate
we'll
it.
be promoting
Appreciate it.
it, but I don't know if you
Thanks,
would be
man.
able to deliver it to Nepal or not because
Oh, we
it's
can definitely work something out for sure. For
but
sure.
maybe like if people want to buy it, then maybe we could work something out in the future because we've got our website where we have like apparel, and then if people like it, maybe later down the line if people want to
Yeah,
buy,
yeah,
because
yeah,
typically you don't get stuffs for like let's say sleeves, wraps. You've got some deadlift socks, but something like let's say a bar grip T-shirt or something. If you
yeah,
eventually make it down the line, then maybe we could work something out and then have it on the
for
website too.
sure. I just started, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna slowly come out with more and more products.
Yeah, if it's
We
helpful for
will have.
training, people like other stuffs. So
It's a
they're gonna buy.
fashion, eh? Going
It's
to
a
the gym is fashion nowadays.
exactly like new
Even
clothes
for
every
power,
day.
even powerlifting, like we don't show our physiques, but we wear particular brands of clothing, caps,
SBD,
socks,
yeah,
SPE, yeah,
yeah, and then
yeah,
the
fashion.
people wear Jordans to the gym and all these
Yeah,
things.
yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
cool, pretty cool.
Russ Wall, I think Russ Wall wears his clothing.
Russell started the trend, and then
Yeah,
it just picked up. Like, yeah, even these guys are wearing uh, stuffs.
it's a
Do you have any?
fashion. It's a
Yeah,
fashion statement.
yeah. Ojas, do you have any questions for Jew here?
No, I don't think I have. I'm very happy to hear you guys
Hey,
talk
nice
about
to
your
meet you,
stuff.
man. Nice to
Nice
meet you.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Hopefully, I can fly down there someday.
Yeah, man. I would love to host you in Nepal. Like we spoke about it earlier as well, but now that we have a small little community, I think if you come here to Nepal, like we would have a lot of fun training, and then
How,
obviously show
how's
you our.
the scene in how's the lifting scene in Nepal? What
So
about it? I don't. Yeah, like
it's pretty good. It's pretty good. You'd be surprised. It's similar. I mean, like I think it's very similar to Thailand, like how the guys are here, like in terms of their capacity. But we don't have like very like elite guys. So for in Thailand, like there's guys like you, Bank, Opar, and Ryan, and even Eric and all those things. So we don't have guys like them here, but everyone else pretty much the same.
okay, okay. But
Yeah.
how's
So.
how's the weightlifting scene, CrossFit scene,
Uh,
bodybuilding?
bodybuilding's I think like the primary sport here. Like people want to do bodybuilding, and I think it's pretty much similar all across the world. People want to go to the gym to look a certain way. So bodybuilding's out there. We've got some big comps in bodybuilding. We don't have monsters like 120 kilo bodybuilders. We don't have
Yeah,
monsters like that.
yeah.
Like the bigger guys in Nepal are probably like 80, 85 kgs on stage.
Okay, okay.
So we don't have monsters, but there are a lot of bodybuilders, really talented bodybuilders, up and coming too. Men's physique, pretty good, all those things. Weightlifting, I'm not too sure because it doesn't. In Nepal, like bodybuilding scene is like powerlifting and bodybuilding.
Yeah.
So like powerlifters and bodybuilders, we know each other, and then
Okay. Okay.
CrossFitters, none. Like not even.
No CrossFitters.
I mean, there are like people who train for CrossFit. Like even I used to be a CrossFit instructor, right? But we don't have like Nepal's fittest man, sort of like a real Nepal's fittest man, sort of a thing. Like where they're basically like CrossFit Games athlete. No one's doing the
Yeah.
open, or no one's gone to regionals or stuff. So
Yeah.
CrossFit's. I think people want to do CrossFit, but they don't know how to, or like something like that. But powerlifting's grown, man. Like it's grown like crazy. Like it's growing and it's
It's
growing.
growing. It's growing here too, I think.
Yeah,
It's growing in Thailand too. I think
yeah,
I think people, because people like you back then, when you would talk about powerlifting, like they'll think of fat, like big fat hairy guys.
exactly,
Now
exactly,
it's not the case. Now you can look
exactly,
good and be a powerlifter, be
exactly,
a very good
exactly.
powerlifter would have abs and
Yeah,
biceps, legs. Yeah.
yeah,
You
yeah,
have guys now who can basically compete in bodybuilding as well.
yeah. Ojas is a bodybuilder too. Like he's got pretty good physique, and then
Mm.
like he's a pretty strong. U83, so pretty strong guy, and then good physique. And then we've got other guys. Ayush, there's a guy Ayush. He's like he can get on stage in Nepal and then plays pretty good, but is pound for pound one of the strongest guys here.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So to end the episode, like, do you have any like message or like for people who want to reach out to you, or like people who are pursuing powerlifting, strongman, or any of the things, or like motivation? Do you have anything towards the end?
Um, I think for people getting into the sport, um, train hard, but train smart, train smarter. Because nowadays, like the days of like training hard or squatting till you puke until you crawl in the gym. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, yeah,
That's kind of like old news now. I think now it's more now. There's more science behind training. There's more methods out there, and I think it's better to train optimally. Like train hard, but train optimally. I think
exactly, exactly.
many people still have the mentality of, oh, I gotta go to the gym, I gotta go like kill it, I gotta go like squat till I can't walk, deadlift till I puke. I think that's it's kind of outdated, I think. So train hard, but also train smart. Like train with people who have knowledge, have experience, and then it's always better to have guidance, I think.
Exactly,
If anyone
exactly.
has any questions about training, feel free to hit me up on Instagram.
Of course.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it, and I think it's also better that you train with people who are stronger than you, if it's possible, right? If it's
Yeah,
possible. So for me, when I moved to Thailand, it was such a good experience because in Nepal I was pretty much the only one in 2018 or something, pretty much the only one
yeah.
squatting like 250 or whatever. But like when I moved to Thailand, obviously you guys, and then I was also able to go to some seminars with like Bryce and Clinton and all those guys. So I think it made a huge difference in how I looked at the sport. And I trained with you guys, and then like for my set, it's always like we're taking out weight for me, and then like if like Ojas is laughing because like like in here is like I'm putting another 25 after they're doing their set. But for me, it's the opposite when I train with you guys. Like
Yeah.
for deadlift, when I'm training with you, it's like he's pulling 300 for his last warm up, and like I'm stopping at like 225, 230, and then it's some people take it in a negative way, but I think for me it was like a really powerful tool that hey, it's possible, man. Like we're training hard, and then it's I think it makes a huge difference if you're training with someone who's stronger, better than you, right?
Yeah,
If
yeah,
it's
for sure. I
possible,
think
if
it's
it's
like
possible.
it's definitely a good motivation to
Yeah,
someone
exactly.
who's like more weight than you, because it
Yeah,
gives you kind of goal too and a purpose to train. Like, oh, I want to
exactly.
someday be as strong as this guy.
Yeah,
I want to lift
exactly.
this guy, you know.
Yeah.
So, but
So
I think that people need to be patient too. It's a long process. Powerlifting.
yeah,
It's a long process to
of
get
course,
strong.
of course, of course, of course.
So I think you need to have patience, have the right guidance, and just
Exactly.
train hard, train smart, train smart. Be
Yeah,
patient.
yeah. Do you do online coaching too?
I do. Right now I've got my hands full. But yeah, like I've trained some powerlifters and aspiring strongmen as well online.
Yeah, so that's
So
pretty cool as well. So if people are interested, maybe you can reach out to him as well. And of course, like even we're basically like an online coaching team as well. Me,
yeah,
myself, and my Ojas and Dr. Strength.
yeah.
We're like a team. So if people want to reach out, then obviously it's possible there too.
If anyone, like, like I'm always open to help. If you have any questions about training or anything, like I'd love to help. I want to grow the community. I want to
Yeah,
grow the strength community
exactly.
in our region. So
Yeah,
like
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
always want to help
Yeah, thanks for being on the podcast, man. Means a lot to us, and maybe we
for
could get
sure,
you to Nepal someday, and then
for sure.
have some fun here, train, and then you can look at the place here, and it's pretty cool country too.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All
You're
right,
you're
sorry.
you're coming over in August, right?
Yeah, I'll be coming in August. Yeah, I'll be coming in August. So I haven't announced the competition online yet, but
Okay.
it's gonna be in August, and yeah,
But the
yeah,
com is
Thailand.
happening for sure, right?
Sorry.
The com is happening for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Unless like COVID something happens again,
Yeah,
but
should be all right. Be
yeah,
okay, I think.
yeah. I was there like 2 weeks back, and it was fine.
This is TPF. This is TPF nationals or
No,
a
it's a
qualifier.
qualifier. It's a qualifier, but I
Okay.
just want to get like a total in. But because like we talked about, like for me, I don't really care about position or like the medal or whatever. It's just for myself, and I wanna. But
Yeah.
also like I could do that thing in the gym too. But I want to have a certain standard like
Yeah.
how
Of
lifters
course.
all
I
across
understand.
the world are doing it, because at my gym I could probably like fool you guys and like just put a fake 25 or whatever.
It's the competition setting. It's the
Yeah,
competition environment that
yeah,
makes
yeah, and then the
the world
mindset
of
is
difference.
different. Yeah, and the mindset is different, and the speed and everything like we talked about. Like you can't rest for too long. The meat
And
here is
and
pretty
and
good.
and, and you're still lifting with the other athletes too.
Yeah, yeah, and then
So
sometimes you
same
gotta
amount of
go.
pressure on you, same amount of eyes on you.
Yeah, yeah, and then
Yeah.
like many things could go wrong, and then like the composure to handle, because like last time when I competed in TPS, they misloaded my bar, right? So like I got
Yeah.
all hyped up, and then I was about to lift, and then they're like, no, 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 wait, wait, wait.
Oh,
So
that's the worst thing that
yeah,
can happen to you, man.
yeah, and then like the
Like,
second the second hype wasn't the same, but but you still being an athlete, like all these like just coping through the adversity and the meet setting is really it makes a huge difference for me at least.
I have a client who he approached his deadlift and he forgot to lock his belt. But then, like if I tell him now, he's gonna lose focus.
Yeah,
So I didn't tell him, and then he made it, but he did it beltless, and it was a PR too.
You got too hyped,
So,
right?
yeah, but I would hate for I would hate for that to happen to me though.
Yeah,
Because when you're
exactly.
focused, you're focused, and if you get that small like distraction, then that's it,
Yeah,
man. That's
if there's like a second thought, sometimes it's like, oh shit, why did I think about it, sort of a thing.
Yeah, for sure. But
Yeah.
if you hit your total that you want, then that's all. That's like
Yeah, exactly. For me, I just
yeah,
want, yeah, on the in a competition setting, I want to hit
yeah,
like I've said it many times, but maybe over 700 would be pretty cool now.
yeah. You need to have a few sessions
Yeah, yeah, of
in
course.
Thailand too, for
Yeah,
sure.
of course. Yeah, the temperature. I need at least a week to get adapted to that weather,
Yeah,
man.
temperature,
Sucks.
hotel, sleep, rest, everything.
Yeah, and the weight cut too, right? Like the
Yeah,
flight, water holding, and all those things. So
yeah.
yeah, man. Thanks for being on, man. I will see you in August.
Thank
Obviously,
you, thank you.
we'll talk over chat later, and then we'll catch up when I come to Thailand as well. Thank you for being on,
Sure,
man.
sure. Thank you, man. Thank you, guys. Talk to you soon.
All
Bye
right.
bye.
Thanks, man.
Bye.